Hey, I'm Cheryl P. Johnson, Chief Executive Officer for COTS, and I am so delighted to have a few minutes just to chat with you again. So, I've been talking about this particular time in my life. I like to call it a time where I get to share a wisdom. So I've had some longevity, both in life and in my career. And when I look back at lessons learned, this gives me an opportunity to share with you and the world some of those lessons that I've learned. So one of the things that I've been talking about and sharing, I'm on this journey about narrative. So let me go back just a few seconds here to explain the difference about wisdom and why it's important. So there's if you look at a line between knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, all of us have information. Knowledge is simply that, just information in. The next level of that, of how we use knowledge, is understanding. Like, how do we apply this? I'm gonna give you an example of it. And then the next level, I think the ultimate level, is wisdom. Like, when do we apply this information? Red light, right? We all know red light means what? Stop. We know what it means. Understanding is when we are driving and we get to a red light, we what? We apply that information that we have. But wisdom, there are certain circumstances where everything that you absolutely know has to be applied differently. So if I'm in the car and there is an emergency, now I'm not saying for you to do this, but I'm just giving you an example where someone has a medical emergency and I'm trying to get to the hospital. Then I'm driving, I get to a red light intersection, I know to stop, but those seconds may result in something devastating for this person. So what do? I look both ways, proceed. Hopefully I'm not being stopped by a police, but that's my example of applying some wisdom in this circumstance. Things have to be applied differently. So that is going to be the journey that we're going to be on together, with just sharing these pearls of wisdom with you. So the last time we chatted, and I'm saying chat because as I'm talking to you, I'm sure you are perhaps in your office, you may be in your car, you are at home, but I'm hoping that there is a dialogue happening, meaning as you are listening to this information, that there's a moment where you are pausing. And it's okay to talk out loud at home, but talking about how you can apply these pearls of wisdom to your life. So we talked about narrative and why it's so important. So just to recap, narrative, those are the things that we think about and we say to make sense of the world. And all of us have narratives. They come from our experiences, things that we've seen, things that we've encountered, things that we've heard, right? And it's important that we also understand that narratives can be harmful, that narratives can be false, meaning what you're thinking is not even true. So I'm going to give you an example. I told you there are going to be moments where I am sharing with you and I'm going to be vulnerable. Again, at this stage in my life, I can be purely vulnerable with you. So listen, I'm at a basketball game with my 9-year-old granddaughter, Brooklyn, and she's playing on the team. This is her first experience of playing basketball. And she's out there on the floor. There's an opposing team, and this is the third game, right? And I've been at all of her games, and there's this one guy. Now keep in mind, Brooklyn is 9 years old, and so are the other players. So there is a guy on the opposite team, the opposing team, and I look at him. There's something about him that just irks me. It literally I don't even know his name. I don't know anything about him except that when he's out there, he seemed just a little bit cocky to me. That's how I describe it. So I'm sitting next to Tequila, who is Brooklyn's mom. And I say to her, Tequila, you see that guy right there? He is so cocky. And then I go as far to say, I don't like him. I say that to her. And we go on through the game. By the way, Brooklyn, they won. It was a buzzer hit at the very end, 3-point shot that caused them to win that game. Later on, I began to think about what I said to her about this 9-year-old little boy. And I simply said, what is it about this kid that I don't like? I don't know him. I don't know his name. Later on, I began to think about what I said. And I'm telling you, there are moments where I have what I call moments of reckoning. And this is how we get it right. You reckon with yourself. And I said, I began to picture his face. And I'm thinking, he reminds me of somebody. He reminds me of somebody. And because of that, I had this whole narrative about him. And there's a way that he's on the floor that just doesn't sit right with me. And I shared that with Tequila, who could have then decided, well, you know what? I don't like him either. And this is just how narratives grow and how we breed bad feelings and ill will and treatment against people that we don't even know, nor do we have any facts about them. And so I thought about it later, and I'm like, oh, I gotta do better. I gotta do better and not do that again. So the next time I see Tequila, I gotta make that right and say, Tequila, I don't know that guy. I should not have said that. And you make your own assumptions about him. Don't base it on something that's not true. And so I'm saying to you today to think about some things, and then we think about it and as we relate narratives with people who live in poverty, right? People that we are serving and partnering with every single day, and how we engage them. Because how you think, you will begin to behave in a way that could damage people, that could continue to damage our society in a way that we don't want. We want a world that, and that is one of my dreams, that is just, right? A world where inequities don't exist, right? Where love and peace exist at all times. And we can be the catalyst for that when we get our narrative straight. So hopefully between now and our next time together, you will do some soul searching and think about, narratives that you are holding that may not be true. Hope to see you next time.